Hello and welcome to the Fabrity Talks podcast. Here we talk IT news, tips and tricks, use cases and case studies. If you have any questions about the subject that we cover, don't hesitate to drop us a comment or a message. If you would like to know more about Lowcode, visit our blog at fabrity.com or check out links we provided in the episode description. My name is Michał, I'm a digital marketing manager here at Fabrity, and with me is Jarek.
Hi, hello everyone. My name is Jarosław. I'm IT content manager here at Fabrity.
In this episode, we will talk one of the leading trends in nowadays software development, namely low-code. So our first episode is titled Why Low-Code? Okay, so what is low-code? Let's dive into the basics. So over the last 20 years, the variety of tools and technologies available to organizations has skyrocketed. So Jarek, how does it affect IT departments?
Replying to your questions, it's like IT departments are no longer managing homogeneous stacks, but diverse, complex environments. And as those environments have evolved, so too has IT. Today, relying on custom scripts no longer matches the speed and agility that business require, while specialization runs counter to the cross-platform processes that are increasingly common.
So, low-code is a quite general term that includes few aspects. So, it's process development solutions, low-code applications development, and software development tools.
Yes, in fact, low-code development solutions provides so-called building blocks that IT users can assemble into workflow and applications.
What is the key aspect of such a building block?
So these building blocks abstract away the code behind actions and commands, making it possible for IT to assemble workflows and business apps without the need for hard coding. So in other words, you can build a business application, for example, to streamline your internal process without coding. So because the code layer is abstracted away in a building block, so it's much more simpler and simplified and much easier to do. So you don't have to be a programmer yourself to build a business application.
Yeah, so actually you don't need developers in order to deliver business apps. Is it the case?
Yeah, I think it's to some extent is the case, because to start working on an app, you don't need a developer, because you can do it by yourself if you have a good overview of what you need to create this app. But you need the environment, so it's low code development is not abstracted away from low code platforms that provide you with the tools necessary. And to deploy these low code platforms, you need IT specialists that could manage the whole environment.
So actually you can outsource app creation to the business users who have deeper understanding of business processes rather than using developers who are experienced at coding but not necessarily know the business process that is has to be covered by the app.
Yeah, yeah. It's that the point is that you can simply implement any kind of local development platform as an environment, allowing people that are business minded, not technically minded, to develop the applications. And IT team is needed only just to implement and to manage this environment, but the process of the creation is done by so-called citizen developers, that are people that are technically savvy but are not programmers themselves. So that's the point. That's the point where the low code development appears on stage.
But why low-code is necessary and what is the background to its emergence? We asked Maciej Drapała, IT architect and consultant at Fabrity, who specializes in low-code.
To say that low-code has made an impact in the world of programming is not enough. Low-code is a game changer for many companies and developers. Now they can deliver a solution for businesses much faster and optimize productivity with pre-configured templates and low-code tools. Digitalization processes began way before the COVID pandemic. It doesn't matter whether we are thinking of changing business models, optimizing business processes, or digitalizing supply chain operations. most companies are seeing a dramatic rise in application development needs. And that is especially due to changes in standard working practices. I mean, the rise of remote solution and going away from the standard on-site job model. Most IT workers cannot imagine working 100% from the office now. Hybrid and fully remote specialists are the new normal. The second thing is the ability for companies to be agile and more resilient, especially according to the current economic situation in the world. And this has led to many workplace systems needing to be reviewed and digitalized to suit remote work and to be more flexible. It also showed exactly how vital workplace digitalization and automation are now and going to be in the future. As a result, companies have already significantly accelerated their digitalization development. At the end of the day, businesses care about a short list of things. They want to accelerate time to market for innovative application by increasing business agility and reducing costs due to shorter development processes. Companies want to spend less, waste less time, and make more money. Low-code can provide all of that.
Okay, let's talk about no code for a moment, because when people when talking about low code solutions also mention no code. So no code solutions allow even non-developers to take an existing concept to production quickly with minimal time and resources. So no code development means that you can get your web or mobile app in front of customers faster, even without a developer. So uh, with no code, uh, practically anyone at your organization can build apps that work with an organization's current infrastructure and fit into existing workflows, no matter their technical skill set or level of expertise. Uh, how do you think it is, Michał?
I think both these terms, I mean low code and no code, are used interchangeably. Um, but there are some key differences to point out during our talk. Mm, I think both of these solutions are for non-technical users and both are very good for business, but let's try to dive into the similarities and differences step by step. Both low code and no code are similar and they aim to abstract the complex aspects of coding by using visual interfaces and pre-configured templates. And both are available as platform as a service solutions, and they adopt workflow based design to define the logical progression of data. Both low code and no code solutions are built with the objective of empowering different kind of users, uh, and this actually reduces the demand for high end developers to be involved in business apps. Jarek, do you see any other
Yeah,
interesting points
I
here?
think that the point is that the commercial off the shelf solutions products can be very expensive and have one size fits all approach, while low code and no code incentivize in house customization, shifting the needle towards build in the buy versus build in the buy versus build dilemma. So, in other words, simply instead of buying a very expensive custom solution or off the shelf solution, you can create a custom application that fits precisely your needs. So you don't have to worry about customization and so on, because everything is available on the low code or no code platform.
So, Jarek, what are the target users of the each solution? I mean, low code and no code.
So it's a very good question, because it's low code is aimed at citizen developers, but also professional developers can make use of it just using these building blocks that are ready to use to create applications. It speeds up the process considerably and makes it possible to create apps that otherwise wouldn't have been created, because it wouldn't be we wouldn't have resources for creation of such app, like for HR department, for some financial department apps. and just because developers are very expensive and very hard to hire, businesses um, keep them busy with the business critical tasks. And that's the role of the low code. And additionally, what is very important here is that low code works in the low code platform environment. So in order to use low code in your company, you need to simply implement, deploy a low code platform that would create an environment for both developers and citizen developers to work with. While no-code tools are usually based are web tools. For example, you can use no-code tools for to create your website, and it's rather aimed at individual users, not at businesses, because low-code it is business users, and low-code is rather no-code is rather people that are not coders themselves, but they need to create an app or they just need to create some website. It's a solution that is aimed at individual uh, clients or customers or businesses that do not have vast programming knowledge but need to start fast, for example with a prototype, with a web page, and so on. So this is the basic difference between the low code and no code.
So actually, there would be quite a difference in speed. I mean, low code requires more training, as no code is more plug and play solutions, and probably also no code is a closed platform, is it?
Yeah, I think it's a good point. Yeah, you need to have some basic background to start using low code, and to do this, a lot of low code platforms offer low code centers of excellence, so that the people can simply learn how to use the platform. And usually, low code platforms have a lot, many integrations with third parties sources like data sources, with AI, with machine learning solutions, etc., etc. And while no code just are closed and are simply limited to build one thing, for example, no code solutions for building websites.
All right. So actually, if you're working in a company where you have legacy systems or systems at all, and you want to integrate with them, you're actually looking towards low code rather than no code.
Yeah, I think that's the point. Low code is just solution that should be deployed at the company level. It's company-wide solution that every department can use it, while no code can be deployed to solve one particular case, for example, to build quickly a website.
So, what about developers' role in each of these approaches?
Yeah, but this is good, very good question, because we are talking that no code and low code tools will replace developers or will make them redundant, but it's not the point, because the short answer is no, because both will coexist in the rapidly changing technology market. Because the fact is that the demand for developers grows by the day, and the tech job market is very hot, and we are not able to cover all of these demands. So nowadays developers are very hard to hire, and their time and are very precious. Therefore, business companies want them keep wants to keep them busy working on the business critical and complex task, rather than doing some automations inside the company. So I think the basic actions or the basic daily operations that require some kind of automation that is introduced by low-code solutions will be covered by citizen developers that will be using tools managed by the IT staff, but not created by the professional developers themselves.
So, actually, it is cheaper now to build apps since you take the workload that would be on professional developers to the citizen developers who are more of business users, actually.
Uh, it's a very good point, but we should also say that without low-code solutions, it wouldn't be possible to create this automation applications, like for streamlining the HR process, like hiring a new employee, for example, because professional developers wouldn't have time to dedicate to build these internal apps because they want to focus on business critical applications. But these internal automations and operations are reported and can save you a lot of manual labor, money, and time. So low code solutions, in fact, are allowing you to build this very important internal automations. And here, the concept of the citizen developer appears on the stage. And it has to be said that Gartner first coined this term in 2009 when the company predicted that the need to expand development and processes mm, um, would force businesses to look beyond using professional development teams. So professional developers will not have enough time to cover all the demand for new applications simply. And in this context, low code development is a excellent advantage in both the time it takes for a project to be completed and the effectiveness of the final product. So if you give a citizen development a low code platform to create in-house business apps, it means that the pool of staff is expanded beyond development teams themselves. This turns no technical staff into employees who can nonetheless complete projects that might otherwise be considered more suitable for the interests of professional developers.
Okay, so another quite important thing is probably that you need less documentation, because actually the people who would have to, make all the documents and explanations to the project manager development team are actually making the app for themselves. So
Yeah,
this
it's
is also
yeah,
helpful.
it is good point, but you must we need to remember that every local development should be done in the context of the local center of excellence. So there should be a platform deployed and company wide, and the platform should be managed by IT professional staff. But there should be also some processes described, so how to use this platform, how to create the app, and so on, in order not to create so-called shadow IT. So IT applications that are created by employees without the control from the IT departments, because it poses some important risks like data leakage, for example, because a lot of low-code platforms has this integration with the third-party data sources. So we must be sure that no data leaks from the company to the some internal and external sources. And so just to limit and to avoid this shadow IT, we need to create a center of excellence that could set the guidelines for low code development inside the company. That's
It just came to my mind that it's quite crucial if because many companies nowadays have license for Microsoft Office or Microsoft 365, as they named it recently, and there are power apps in this solution. So many companies have ability to produce basic applications by themselves without any control, probably.
Yeah, just imagine a scenario when an employee wants to streamline the process of, for example, document management, and creates an app, and this app simply has some third-party connector that sends uh, data, that documents that may be potentially sensitive to some third-party vendor outside the company, and then this simply our apps works, nobody controls it, and then after 2 years, for example, this employee quits and changes the job, and nobody knows that this app works, and just keeps sending it keeps keeps sending the data outside the company, and it's a data leakage nobody is aware of. So
It's a little frightening scenario, really.
yeah, therefore we are just underlining the need to create the need of creation of a center of excellence, so that a hub inside the company that could simply organize the local development, set up guidelines, policies, etc. So just to reduce the risk of creating a shadow IT. Just and any other problems. And just imagine that you have a platform that anybody can use freely, and then at the end of the year you have thousands of apps that nobody uses and nobody knows what they are for, because they were created by a few people and only a few people use them. So it's like, we need some kind of organized process in this.
Yeah, so that's a good point, and I would imagine that there could be a situation where someone would even don't know that the app really exists and is doing such a things. So that's a bad thing.
So when talking about low code solutions, we don't want to create a hype or a propaganda, because there are solutions with a huge potential, but of course it must be handled with care, and we must take necessary steps when implementing it to get all the potential it has for the company development and for automations. Low code tools are great tools to automate a lot of laborsome and processes, like HR vacation requests or ticketing system, etc., because most of them provide you with the ready building blocks, or even ready templates of the most common processes that you could automate in your own company. And it's a good point that you mentioned that in Microsoft Office 365 you have this Power Platform or Power Apps. So if you are already a user of Microsoft environment, you can simply top up your subscription and start using also low code tools that are already integrated with your environment. So it's a great thing for the companies that are working on the Microsoft tech stack.
Okay, so let's think for a while. What is the future of app development? I mean, there are some interesting statistics from Gartner. Um, there are some chances for professional developers, and also there is, well, a certain path probably of the tools and platforms evolution in foreseeable future. Um, so, Jarek, how many apps actually are produced in the world these days?
So I have statistics not from Gartner but from IDC, and it's about over 500 million digital applications and services will be developed and deployed by the end of 2023, and it is roughly the same number of apps that have been developed over the last 40 years. So it's a huge
Wow.
number. It's a huge number, and it shows that we don't have enough skilled.
Hello and welcome to the Fabrity Talks podcast. Here we talk IT news, tips and tricks, use cases and case studies. If you have any questions about the subject that we cover, don't hesitate to drop us a comment or a message. If you would like to know more about low-code, visit our blog at fabrity.com or check out links we provided in the episode description. My name is Michał, I'm a digital marketing manager here at Fabrity, and with me is Jarek.
Hi, hello everyone. My name is Jarosław. I'm IT content manager here at Fabrity.
In this episode, we will talk one of the leading trends in nowadays software development, namely low-code. So our first episode is titled Why Low-Code? Okay, so what is low-code? Let's dive into the basics. So over the last 20 years, the variety of tools and technologies available to organizations has skyrocketed. So Jarek, how does it affect IT departments?
Replying to your questions, it's like IT departments are no longer managing homogeneous stacks but diverse, complex environments. And as those environments have evolved, so too has IT. Today, relying on custom scripts no longer matches the speed and agility that business require, while specialization runs counter to the cross-platform processes that are increasingly common.
So, low code is a quite general term that includes few aspects. So, it's process development solutions, low code applications development, and software development tools.
Yes, in fact, low-code development solutions provide so-called building blocks that IT users can assemble into workflow and applications.
What is the key aspect of such a building block?
So these building blocks abstract away the code behind actions and commands, making it possible for IT to assemble workflows and business apps without the need for hard coding. So in other words, you can build a business application, for example, to streamline your internal process without coding. So because the code layer is abstracted away in a building block, so it's much more simpler and simplified and much easier to do. So you don't have to be a programmer yourself to build a business application.
Yeah, so actually you don't need developers in order to deliver business apps. Is it the case?
Yeah, I think it's to some extent is the case, because to start working on an app, you don't need a developer, because you can do it by yourself if you have a good overview of what you need to create this app. But you need the environment, so it's low code development is not abstracted away from low code platforms that provide you with the tools necessary, and to deploy these low code platforms you need IT specialists that could manage the whole environment.
So actually you can outsource app creation to the business users who have deeper understanding of business processes rather than using developers who are experienced at coding but not necessarily know the business process that is has to be covered by the app.
Yeah, yeah, it's that the point is that you